Today we're taking a look at these NFL matches, which are happening on Thursday, October 13, 2022, and giving you match breakdowns, betting tips and predictions in general on these games. Welcome back to High Stakes, let's get straight into it. Also, don't forget to subscribe and push that notification bell to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos. And if you would like more betting tips and predictions, then check out our Patreon in the link down below. Our new Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. Multiple plans are available for each and every one of you. By becoming a member of the High Stakes Patreon, you will have access to our best team picks, total picks, parlay picks and much more. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting predictions that ends up costing you a lot of time and money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks. Going back to our video, we will give you 2 betting picks for each game, a team pick and a total pick based on facts and detailed explanation. So make sure to watch our videos till the end so you don't miss any of our picks. Washington Commanders vs Chicago Bears. Washington got off to a strong start this season when it picked up a 28-22 win over Jacksonville, which has looked like a solid team since then. The Commanders have been trending in the opposite direction, losing 4 consecutive games. They lost 3 of those games by multiple possessions before coming up short against Tennessee on Sunday. Washington had the ball on the 2-yard line, but quarterback Carson Wentz threw 2 incompletions before throwing an interception on 3rd down to seal the victory for Tennessee. Wentz did have his highest passing output of the season, throwing for 359 yards. The Bears struggled offensively last season, and that has not changed in 2022. They rank number 31 in the NFL, averaging just 274.0 yards per game, sitting only ahead of Carolina. Quarterback Justin Fields has only completed 55.7% of his passes for 679 yards, 3 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. He has been able to run for 194 yards and a score, but that has not been enough to account for his poor passing. Running back Khalil Herbert has been the bright spot offensively, averaging 5.9 yards per carry on 56 attempts. They will need him to get going against a Washington defense that is number 19, allowing 345.6 yards per game. Chicago desperately needs to get back on track this week, as its season could be going up in flames. The Bears picked up an impressive win over San Francisco in Week 1 and added a 23-20 win over Houston in Week 3, but they are coming off back-to-back loss to the Giants and Vikings since then. They were able to overcome a slow start against Minnesota, which raced out to a 21-3 lead midway through the second quarter. Chicago proceeded to score 19 consecutive points to take a 22-21 advantage with 9:26 remaining, but Minnesota scored a touchdown with 2:26 remaining to escape with a win. The Commanders have been a mediocre offensive team this season, ranked number 19 in the NFL in yards per game, 341.6. Wentz has completed 62.9% of his passes for 1,390 yards, 10 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. His top target has been wide receiver Terry McLaurin, who has caught 19 passes for 326 yards and a score. Wide receiver Curtis Samuel has added 32 catches for 281 yards and 2 touchdowns. The rushing attack has not been able to generate much success, averaging just 3.2 yards per carry. They are facing a Chicago defense that is number 22, allowing 367.2 yards per game. This is certainly going to be the ugliest Thursday night football game of the year so far, as neither of these teams have been playing a pretty brand of football. I feel better about Washington heading into this game, though. The Commanders have a little more offensive firepower than Chicago, which has really struggled to move the ball with Fields at quarterback. Wentz is able to spread the ball around the field, and he has a pair of elite wide receivers in McLaurin and Samuel. They will score a few crucial touchdowns, giving them just enough to get past a Chicago team that has failed to cover in 9 straight home games against Washington. Our team pick is Washington plus 1 point. The Commanders followed up their season-opening win over the Jaguars by losing their last 4 games. They will try to turn things around with a win over the Bears, which will give them their first road win of the season. Washington is averaging 18 points per game. They are throwing for 252.6 yards and rushing for 89 yards per game. The Bears followed up their win over Houston by losing their last 2 games. They will try to put an end to their losing streak with a win over the Commanders, which will give them their third win in their last 6 games. Chicago is averaging 17.2 points per game. They are throwing for 116.6 yards and rushing for 157.4 yards per game. Carson Wentz completed 66% of his passes for 359 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception in the loss to the Titans. He threw an interception at Tennessee's goal line that would have helped them win the game. Brian Robinson had 9 carries for 22 yards, while Dyami Brown had 2 catches for 105 yards and 2 touchdowns. Justin Fields completed 71% of his passes for 208 yards and 1 touchdown in the loss to the Vikings. He also had 8 carries for 47 yards. David Montgomery had 12 carries for 20 yards and 1 touchdown. He led the team with 8 catches for 62 yards. Chicago has played well defensively, giving up 21.2 points per game. They gave up a season-high 29 points in their last game and will need to play better, especially against the pass, if they want to win this game. Washington's defense isn't very good, with the T giving up 25.6 points per game. They played well against the Titans, giving up 21 points, and will need another solid defensive effort if they want to get the win. The Commanders are averaging 18 points per game and 18.5 points per game on the road. They averaged 26.6 points per game in their last 3 games against the Bears. They throw the ball well and they're facing a defense that has struggled against good passing teams, so expect them to hit their average in this game. The Bears are averaging 17.2 points per game and 21 points per game at home. Washington QB Carson Wentz completed 25 of 38 passes for 359 yards, but threw a game-ending interception. Dyami Brown caught touchdown passes of 30 and 75 yards for the Commanders. The Chicago Bears have won their first 2 home games and rank last in the league in passing offense, 116.6 IP. Last week, Chicago allowed Minnesota to gain 429 yards of total offense during a 29-22 road loss. The Bears, 2-3, had their running game held in check with just 78 rushing yards on 24 carries and possessed the ball for less than 24 minutes. Chicago RB David Montgomery scored on a 9-yard touchdown run and finished with 82 yards from scrimmage. Second-year QB Justin Fields threw for 208 yards and a score in a losing effort for the Bears. They averaged 24.3 points per game in their last 3 games against the Commanders. They are great at running the ball, and Washington's run defense was very stout in their last 3 games, so expect them to struggle offensively in this game and keep the score under the total. Our total pick is under 38.5 points.